reflected on the opportunity presented by the nation's present economic challenge.
There's a recognition that this is the time Nigeria needs to take advantage of this downturn to build a more resilient economy so that we won't find ourselves back in this position in future.
From one meeting hall to another, Nigeria's strategic position in Africa continues to draw attention of potential investors. From Washington, D.C., Cliff Ayozie, NTA News.
With the rise in the nation's inflationary rate of 12.7%, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) renews its commitment to enhance the Apex Bank's intervention in critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele stated this in an interview after attending the 189-member committee meeting in Washington, D.C. Again, Cliff Ayozie reports.
Measures to fast-track the slow global economy is the preoccupation of this 24-member International Monetary Fund Committee, who are central bank governors, ministers, or others of comparable rank. They are drawn from its 189 member nations. Here, Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Central Bank of Nigeria Governor strategized before the closed-door meeting. Although recent developments point to some improvements in sentiment, financial market volatility and risk aversion have risen, reflecting partly the reappraisal of potential growth. For Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele says rising inflation has negative impact on interest rate.
Because when you have the MPR, right, below inflation rate, it's not a model that is acceptable. Interest rate has to be higher than inflation rate, and so that's what we expect. But I think from the side of the Central Bank of Nigeria, we will continue as much as possible to see how we can continue to increase our interventions to certain targeted sectors of the economy.
Central Bank of Nigeria boss further stated that Nigeria is on the right path towards diversification of the economy as the central bank will continue to intervene in critical sectors.
I re-emphasize that we're on the right course by saying that we need to continue to diversify our economy. And I think for Nigeria, I see light at the end of the tunnel because we have a couple of Nigerian investors that have really embraced the diversification of the Nigerian economy.
He solicited the understanding and support of Nigerians in realization of the monetary and fiscal policies for a better economy. From Washington, D.C., Cliff Ayozie, NTA News.
And back home, Nigeria can attain economic growth and development only when there is a conscious drive towards infrastructural and agricultural developments across the country. The Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, made this remark at a public lecture organized by the Unilag Muslim alumni in Lagos. Musa Toliat has the details.
Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, said sustainable development is premised on defining the need for certain infrastructure which must have direct impact on the citizenry. He emphasized that provision of infrastructure must be devoid of regional and ethnic sentiments, adding that the current fight against corruption portends good omen for sustainable economic growth and development.
We need to stop thinking of corruption purely as a moral issue and look at the literature on the different types of corruption and their different types of impact on the economy. If you appoint someone to public office, the first consideration is that that person must be capable of handling the responsibility you have given him, because his incompetence comes back to hurt the people.
Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who was represented, said although there is need to promote and encourage public-private partnership as key elements to development, the existing multiple laws currently regulating such partnership cannot attract investors.
The essence is to make sure that we have harmonization between the BPP law, the ICRC laws and everything. So that since it's for PPP to happen, let there be just one law.
Some members and executives of the University of Lagos Muslim alumni react to the lecture.
So that lecture is trying to remind us is that there's a need to think about the future of Nigeria.
One of our key objectives is to identify with the challenges facing the nation and see how we can contribute our own quota.
The University of Lagos Muslim Alumni Lecture also featured merit awards to some prominent Nigerians and scholarship to some indigent Muslim students in University of Lagos. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has urged Nigerians to have a change in attitude so as to conform with the changing times. Speaking at a Thanksgiving service of Representative Jagaba Adams at Ekwe Church, Kaduna, he noted that for Nigeria to progress, the people must have a new orientation. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
For some of the guests at the Thanksgiving service, it was a time for merrymaking, but for Speaker Yakubu Dogara, it was another moment for reflection. The improvement in the quality of leaders in Nigeria is at the core of the Speaker's speech. He believes that for Nigeria to have good governance, her citizens from where leaders are recruited must have high standard of conduct, be disciplined, patriotic and selfless.
So if you don't have a pool of competent people who replace the leaders that have embraced change, chances are that as soon as they fade away or they leave the scene, that leadership position will be populated by people that you will always desire that they change again. So the best thing is that the change should start from the community and then it moves up.
The Speaker was accompanied by Deputy Speaker Yusuf Lasson and other legislators from the two chambers of the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has called on the Senate to suspend its review of the Code of Conduct Bureau Act pending the conclusion of the trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Coordinator at CISLAC, Jaye Gaskia, who spoke during a press briefing in Abuja, noted that the Senate has the right to review the act, but said it is better for them to suspend review so their action may not be misconstrued in certain quarters.
We think that it is ill-timed. We think that it is unnecessary. Because of that, we think that the appropriate thing to do is for the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to forthwith cease all the process, withdraw all the amendments, cease the process of amending this bill until all the outstanding questions have been dealt with.
The federal government says it is committed to creating employment opportunities for unskilled and unemployed Nigerians. Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige stated this during the resettlement of graduates of the National Directorate of Employment Vocational Skills Development Program in Awka. Joy Tony Amaku has the details.
The resettlement scheme of the National Directorate of Employment (NDE) seeks to empower already trained persons in any vocational skills with relevant startup packs to commence any small-scale business. Speaking at the flag-off in Awka, the Anambra State capital, Minister of Labour and Employment Dr. Chris Ngige said nearly 2,000 persons will be empowered under the scheme.
The government will try to make sure that everybody has access to a good job. That job might not be a job of permanent secretary. That job might not be in the public sector. That job will be in the informal sector. But government should assist to make that job decent. After this event, 30 new small-scale businesses would have been injected into the economy of Anambra State.
Anambra State Governor Chief Willie Obiano, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Dr. Nkem Okeke, urged the beneficiaries to make good use of the facilities given to them. The beneficiaries were given training in welding and fabrication, fashion and design, bricklaying, hairdressing, among others. In Awka, Joy Tony Amako, NTA News.
And Security Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, has stressed the need for a mutually beneficial relationship between the Army and the media to enhance information flow from the theater of war for better appreciation of sacrifices made by gallant soldiers in the war against terror. The Chief of Army Staff stated this at the commissioning of NTA Maiduguri Network Studio Complex named after him. Meima Garba reports.
The Chief of Army Staff said Nigerian Army accords information dissemination priority in the execution of counter-insurgency operations in the Northeast region. Hence, the decision to support NTA expands its area of coverage and signals reach. While appreciating the tremendous support of NTA in articulating information from the theater of war, as well as other activities of Operation Lafia Dole, General Buratai said the Army will continue to collaborate with the media to achieve a resounding success in the war against terror. Director General Nigerian Television Authority, represented by the Zonal Director NTA Maiduguri Network Center, Saniyaro Bashir, commended Chief of Army Staff for repositioning the center for effective dissemination of information, stressing that NTA will live up to its responsibility. He equally appreciated Borno State Government for assisting the center. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information, Home Affairs and Culture, Malam Pannami, who represented Governor Kashim Shettima, said a 250 kVA generator has been donated to the center in recognition of its invaluable services, describing NTA as a dependable medium. General Buratai featured on the station's current affairs program, Meeting Point, and was later conducted around the studio complex by the zonal director.
You know, they reach everywhere, and people have high regard. Nigerians have high regard for the NTA programs, so we must make sure that they are in good state to produce and disseminate the relevant information. So that's why we are partnering with them.
In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
By in Lagos with stories from that axis. Top on the list is Governor Ambode's assurance on the construction of Lagos' 4th mainland bridge. Hello, Abdullahi. It's over to you.
Thanks for joining us in Lagos. A coalition of civil society groups in conjunction with the Nigeria Labour Congress have called on the Ikeja Electric to immediately stop presenting bills when they fail to provide electricity to the people. The group made the call during a peaceful protest at the headquarters of the Ikeja Electric. Tunde Saiki has details.
The group, under the aegis of Citizens Access to Electricity Initiatives, in collaboration with some civil society groups and the Nigerian Labour Congress, stormed the office of the Ikeja Electric. Their demands include putting a stop to the increase in electricity tariff and the issuance of crazy bills. They are also requesting the recall of 400 sacked workers and the exposure of their workers to electrocution.
What they did in privatization was that if you give it to the private man, electricity will be available to Nigerians. 3 years after, they've given it to the private man. Where is the electricity?
We were actually in the discussion on how to get out of the doldrum when Ikeja Electric Management decided unilaterally, and even up till now, we are yet to know the reason, to pull out of the discussion. And for that reason, we are coming back to ask the management to return the 400 Nigerian workers.
Addressing the crowd, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Edward Ajogun, said as conduct themselves in civilized manner, the police will be polite with them. On his part, the head corporate communications, Ikeja Electric, Felix Ofulwe, said most of the issues raised by the coalition group is not peculiar to Ikeja Electric alone, but rather a national one.
I also think it's an attempt to frustrate the efforts of the government in providing steady power supply to Nigerians, because that is why they have targeted Ikeja Electric, because they realize that it's a major economic hub in the country.
The protesters vow that they will continue with their protest until the issues raised are reversed. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has assured residents that the state government will formally sign a memorandum of understanding with investors for the construction of the 4th mainland bridge before the end of May 2016. The governor gave the assurance while speaking at the first quarter of 2016 town hall meeting, the 3rd in the series held at Ikorodu. Nosaru Osula reports.
The governor, Akinwumi Ambode, assured residents of the community that once the memorandum of understanding is signed, work would begin on the 4th mainland bridge, which would be a way to boost the economy of Lagos East Senatorial District.
The phase 1 of the Lagos Blue Line Rail is now 85% completed. The contracts for the construction of flyovers in 2 of the state's high traffic zones Aja Roundabout, and Abule Egba Junction were awarded and work has already started.
The governor added that the intention of his administration is to ensure that no part of the state is left undeveloped, expressing optimism that the Lagos East Senatorial District, which used to be the economic hub of the state in the then western region, will regain its position.
The redevelopment of the fish market to an international fish market and the redevelopment of inner roads in Abuja and Epe, including all the environs of the East Senatorial District, will commence vigorously.
Ambode also hinted on plans to expand the Ikorodu, Imota, Agbowa, Itoikin Road into 8 lanes under the Build-Own Transfer scheme. In Lagos, Nosa, Osula, NTA News.
The Nigeria Custom Federal Operations Unit Zone A has intercepted and seized contraband and smuggled goods worth more than 572.17 million naira. The comptroller of the unit, Umar Muhammad Dahiru, said the seizures were made possible due to reliable information from some patriotic members of the public.
The comptroller gave a breakdown of the seized item as follows: 4,911 bags of rice, 15,048 cartons of frozen products, 1,188 cartons of vegetable oil, and 17 trucks of unprocessed thick woods. He explained that the bags of rice were seized because of the ban of rice importation through the land borders by the management of the Nigeria Customs Service.
A lot of will-be importers actually started abusing the process, and therefore actually the management of Nigerian Customs have to have a second thought and then decided to ban it again.
Other seizures made, he added, include 5 brand new Prado Jeeps. Comptroller Umar Dahiru disclosed that the poultry products were carefully concealed with frozen fish, while some used cooling rams to conceal the product. He appealed to people in the border communities to collaborate with customs by giving useful information that could help in arresting the smugglers.
What they do actually is criminal, and they should put their money in genuine and legitimate businesses.
The comptroller assured legitimate and compliant importers of the support of the unit in line with the policy of trade facilitation, while pointing out that more sensitization programs will be carried out to educate people, especially those in the border communities, on the dangers of smuggling. In Lagos, Otimolu Agbemi, NTA News.
On to what it costs to supply water in some part of Lagos now. Some communities in the city of Lagos have been experiencing acute water shortage. Most households depend on cart pushers for their daily supply of water. However, as the demand for water soars, the suppliers have increased the price per gallon. The taps are running dry, and the only source of water for the affected communities are boreholes propelled by standby generators. And these do not come free or highly subsidized like the public water system. The residents of the various communities pay through their nose to get supply from these emergency water entrepreneurs.
Well, when I want to use water, I bought 1 truck of water for 800 naira in my area. When the Malam told me the condition to get the water, I could not price it.
When things go up like this, to regain your money that you even pump on the business, to get it back, you have to increase your services.
The scenario is bittersweet. While those who have no option than to patronize the cart pushers are bitter, the cart pushers are sweetie to the bank.
1,105
every day. Wow.
The area, it go say 200.
So another area?
Another area, I go say 300.
An interesting twist to it all is that some commercial motorcycle riders have abandoned their trade to the supply of water, which appears to be lucrative. No one saw this switch in trade coming.
People need water planting now.
Okay.
Okada no work. That's why I park my machine one side. I just go sell water.
All right.
Sell water, I go they make like 2,000, 1,500, 1,800.
Simple calculation of the daily earnings of these cart pushers is estimated at 350 to 400,000 naira annually. Note that these cart pushers do not pay rent, which presupposes that they are off any form of utilities, including taxes. And that report ends nationwide. From Lagos, back to Olajide for the continuation of the news in Abuja. Olajide, over to you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah, there in our Lagos Network Center. Moving on, 40 years into the life of an institution that has defied insurgency and waxing stronger speaks volume of the commitment and resilience of management and staff to realize the vision and mission of the organization. University of Maiduguri falls in this category. Muhammad Ibrahim reports on the rising profile of the institution in 4 decades amid security challenges.
The University of Maiduguri, popularly called UNIMAID, was the first university to be created in the northeast region of the country in 1975 as a second-generation university. 40 years on, the institution has expanded physically and academically, with numerous projects completed, while some are ongoing in spite of the insurgency in the state. The expansion can be seen in facilities for teaching, learning and research, which has enhanced the ability of the university to meet the huge challenges of training qualified manpower needed for national development in the 21st century, as attested to by stakeholders.
Giving into the demands of the insurgency is like being defeatist. So with that singular act, it has shown that we, as a society, we're very resilient and we can withstand any threat. And that gave a lot of hope and also sent a very strong signal all over.
If the university were to be closed, more especially during this insurgency, it would surely affect, the workforce of the state and indeed the country in general.
I think this is a very good development, and we must commend the efforts of the previous administration and present administration of the university, as well as the military and the state government.
Some parents and graduates that lived through the fears of insurgency at its peak up to actualizing graduation say the magic has been God's protection, courage on their part, the institution's management, and the role of government generally.
University of Maiduguri is a courageous school, very courageous, and they are giving in their best to the students who are not afraid.
Seriously, back then I wanted to live in Maiduguri. Even my parents called me that I should come back, but I was like, no, I'm not going to give up at this point in time. So I really want to thank God that everything has normalized.
With all the feats recorded, UNIMAID is believed will continue to uphold the cosmopolitan status it has gained over the years and continue to make its mark in providing quality tertiary education to Nigeria and beyond. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's pause for some messages now. Nationwide returns shortly. Stay with us.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Managing the finances of state governments and the question of insolvency. This is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live, informative, educative, and incisive. Don't be told. Join us.
Across Nigeria, there are more than 101 tourist and cultural destinations that can account for over 1 trillion naira in national revenues if properly harnessed. With profitable opportunities across its multiple value chain and to promote the Nigerian culture and tourism sector for optimum economic development, the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, is inviting stakeholders to the 2016 National Summit on Culture and Tourism. Theme: Repositioning Culture and Tourism in a Diversified Economy. Special guest of honor, the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Exhibition and Gala Night, 27 April 2016, 7 p.m. Conference opening and plenaries, 28th and 29th April 2016, 8 a.m. daily. Venue, Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Signed, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Culture.
This week on Airtel Touching Lives, we visit a family dealing with the challenges of having a daughter with cerebral palsy.
The chair is going to help her to correct her disabilities.
And we meet Miracle Nwoke, who is deaf, mute, and suffering from an eye problem.
He was sick at a very tender age, and all of a sudden, the boy was no more hearing.
Trying a shot, and it's gone in. John Bessonu's fifth goal of the season, and what a spectacular...
Great Nigerian people, great Nigerian products, all made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria.
It's made in Nigeria.
Tonight, made in Nigeria. Quality is guaranteed.
Nice, made in Nigerian good.
Made in Nigeria is where we are going now.
We're going to come to Made in Nigeria TV Expo and Exhibition in April 2016, where we shell for the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Features include grand opening ceremony, live concert, and showcasing of many Ogbonge quality products from our expert manufacturers and states. 5 days of TV Expo and Exhibition for Made in Nigeria products and services. For further inquiries, we're going to contact our contact platforms or visit any NTA station near you. Think international, because our products are going international.
We must remain steadfast in our commitment to steer this country back to greatness.
He is one of the best brands that we have as a country, and we have to take advantage of that.
Look inwards and see how we'll be able to enhance our resources.
The problem now of Nigeria is man-made. It's just a question of patience and cooperate with the government. Nigeria will go back to those better days.
The man who's leading us, he wouldn't talk much, but he does a lot.
We shall deliver security, jobs, and infrastructure. This is the right of all Nigerians. Our actions will speak for us.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Announced with Education Matters now, Taraba State Government, collaboration with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, has rolled out a 10-year state education sector strategic plan and the state education operation plan in line with the vision to consolidate on the gains so far recorded. Christy Adaji reports.
The need to step up efforts aimed at continually improving the educational sector of the state to meet up with global standards remains a critical priority to the Taraba State government. This much was again demonstrated at the public presentation of the 10-year Education Sector Strategic Plan and Education Sector Operation Plan, as well as the school's annual reports in Jalingo. The documents are the outcomes of collaboration between the State Ministry of Education and the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF. Taraba State Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku, represented by the Chief of Staff Government House Administration, Rebo Usman, said the documents contain all that the government needs to transform education in the state.
This administration is here on the rescue mission. And so I want to assure you that this document that has been presented and which will be adopted is a document that we are all going to work with. Definitely, we are going to be better guided.
Taraba State Commissioner for Education, Jigim Johannes, said their collaboration with UNICEF over the years has yielded positive results in the sector. He said the comprehensive schools data produced under one of their collaborative initiatives has enabled decision makers to apply current information in solving some of the challenges of the sector.
It is important to state that for any organization, be it government, private, to plan and successfully render true service to its teeming populace, it must do with a definite data.
UNICEF coordinator for Taraba State, Mrs. Juliana Tafida, and the core technical team leader, William Lamo, applauded the contributions of the state government towards producing the documents and called for the faithful implementation of the road maps. In Jalingo, Christy Ayagwa Adaji, NTA News.
Prominent Nigerians, including former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, as Barewa old boys gathered in Zaria to remember the contributions of one of their own, Sir Kashim Ibrahim, at the official handover of the e-library named after him to the school. Franca Uzoma Olua reports that one thing that played out at the event, the place of history in national development.
For today's younger generation, especially those at the basic level of education, the name Sir Kashim Ibrahim may not sound familiar because they do not have the privilege of learning history. Well, Sir Kashim Ibrahim was an influential northern politician who had the secondary education at the prestigious Barewa College, Zaria, with number B73.
I heard that history has been cancelled from the curriculum of our schools, which I think is a big pity, because a lot has to be said for values, which we have lost.
The Kashim Ibrahim Computer Center is designed to rekindle the reading culture among students and also salvage the image of the college.
We want to raise the standard of learning, the standard of teaching, IT and all the rest of it. I hope they will master the new system and help to educate not only themselves, but also use it to help to educate others.
We often hear a lot of times they remember the late Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Tafawa Balewa. Today it's his turn, the first governor of the northern region, and we're very happy about that.
The construction of the e-library is a federal government UBEC intervention project 2015.
We've been able to have this edifice replicated in about 67 institutions from the length and breadth of the country.
The handover of the fully equipped e-library to the college is part of government's efforts to transform public schools nationwide. Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
And now to NYSC matters. Brigadier General Sule Zakari Kazaure has taken over as the 17th Director General of the National Youth Service Corps Scheme, NYSC, from Brigadier General Johnson Olaomi. Olayinka Ojo reports that the new NYSC Director General promised to be just, fair and transparent in the discharge of his duties.
On the 6th of January 2014, Brigadier General Johnson Olaomi took over as the 16th Chief Executive of the NYSC from Brigadier General Nnamdi Okore Afia. Handing over the mantle of leadership to the new Director General NYSC, outgoing NYSC Director General Brigadier General Johnson Olaomi appreciated the management and staff of the scheme for their support, which enabled him address the welfare of staff and youth corps members, as well as prepare them for post-service year through skills acquisition.
I want to call on my successor to please prioritize corps members' welfare.
The new NYSC Director General, Brigadier General Sule Zakari Kazaure, appreciated the present administration for finding him worthy to steer the ship of the over 43 years old scheme. He promised to be diligent and ensure the ideals of the scheme for national unity, growth and development are further achieved by consolidating on the achievements of his predecessor.
I understand the importance of motivated workforce. Therefore, I will endeavor to give the staff and co-welfare a priority. In doing so, I will be fair, transparent in my administration to enable us to succeed together.
Brigadier General Sule Zakari Kazaure, who is the 17th Chief Executive of the NYSC, hails from Kazaure, Jigawa State. In Abuja, Olainka Ujo, NTA News.
And a workshop on relationship between electorate and elected officials. Kemi is standing by from our Ibadan Network Center to bring details of the story and more. Hello, Kemi. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Olajide. Good afternoon and welcome to Ibadan. For agriculture to sustain the nation's economy and enhance welfare of farmers, scientific research and technology must be fully employed in farming. Speakers at a forum put together by the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ibadan, made the remark. Olumide Guntola completes the report.
The Executive Director, Forum of Agricultural Research in Africa, Professor Yemi Akinbamijo, stressed the need for greater engagement of extension and advisory system in the crave to foster the development of African agriculture.
Technologies must be delivered where it is needed. And therefore, our approach, the game changer, is to have a demand-driven approach to technology and innovation generation.
In their own submissions, Dr. Charles Akinola and the head of Department, Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, Professor Adegbemiga Adekoya, emphasized the need for government's intervention in the development of agricultural sector with the aim of combating food insecurity in the country.
What kinds of graduates do we need? What kinds of, in the case of industry, what kinds of product do we need? How do we need them? And that is what our university system, our research institutes, our policymakers should use as a starting point.
Without extension, what is needed in agric can never be known.
If we're able to achieve that, we will not only be able to feed ourselves, but we will be able to produce an excess for export across the West African sub-region, across Africa, and to the world.
The forum concluded that agricultural extension workers need to bridge the gap between research and agricultural institutions and farmers to boost farm yields. In Ibadan, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
Nigeria is said to possess enough resources to meet the needs of rice consumption through local production and save billions of the naira spent on importation. This was the submission of Africa Rice Center at an awareness program in Ibadan. Correspondent Oyeyinka Falaromi reports.
One of the major focus of the present administration is to reduce billions of naira spent on importation of rice annually. To the experts at the Africa Rice Center, the nation is blessed with natural resources, not only to provide enough rice for local consumption, but to export and generate revenue for the country.
Lowland produce higher, and that's why that rice advice was focusing more on lowland, but rice can be cultivated anywhere, and you're still getting your optimum yield.
When you're lowland, you have standing water. Hydromorphic is very moist, but upland, there's no standing water.
We have to develop materials for upland ecology because of the people living have that condition, and the people for lowland.
The experts decried lack of enough extension agents in providing field-specific management guidelines, which necessitated the Rice Advice Initiative.
The government of Nigeria is highly involved, like you said, for sustainability's sake.
We have a big project that we're working with the IT on, and there is a component for rice. So it's as simple as that.
About 12,000 rice farmers in some selected states in Nigeria are expected to key into the awareness program to improve their yield. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Folaranmi, NTA News.
Effective communication and synergy between the electorate and elected officials has been described as panacea to good governance in a democracy. This was the consensus of contributions at a forum on citizens' conversation with elected officers organized by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, in Ibadan. Kemi Oshin has details.
Welcoming participants to the event, Oyo State Director, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Dolapo Dosumu, noted that democracy can only flourish when leaders and the led work together. She explained that the program was organized to raise a consciousness of the citizens to participate in governance. Speaking in the same vein, the Acting Director General, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Ngozi Ekeoba, said citizens should be the object of governance with constant opportunity to dialogue with elected officials.
They should determine to some extent, to a greater extent, the needs, what they should have in their various constituencies.
In a message to the forum, Governor Abiola Ajimobi said there is need to link the Nigerian citizens' yearnings and the vision of elected officials in order to ensure meaningful development.
Once there's a gap between the governor and the governors, and the gap starts widening, the democracy is strengthened. And once democracy is strengthened, you cannot have development.
Other contributions centered on how to ensure that the policies and programs of government address the need of the people.
The politician must play himself down or herself down and become more to the level of the people.
Every stakeholder needs to know exactly what is the bits, what is the role that he or she needs to do.
Forum, however, called for reorientation as well as attitudinal change on the part of both the elected and the electorate to deepen Nigeria's democracy. In Ibadan, Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
Oyo State Police Command says the anti-kidnapping law recently signed by the Oyo State government will be fully enforced. Oyeyinka Folaranmi reports that the police commissioner, Leye Oyebade, gave the assurance at the parade of some suspected criminals in Ibadan.
Following the call for the prosecution of the alleged kidnapped suspects to serve as deterrent to others, Oyo State Police Commissioner Leye Oyebade said the new anti-kidnapping law in the state will facilitate such prosecution.
All those that we have apprehended that have been paraded, they are going to be tried under the new law. And the new law gives stiffer punishment. There is life imprisonment and so on and so forth.
Recently caught in the web of the police is a suspected leader of a kidnapping gang, Umoru Bawa, who was alleged to have demanded for 15 million naira as ransom from their victim. The gang was alleged to have shot their victim, and the bullet subsequently hit one of their gang members, who was arrested by the police, and this led to the rescue of the victim. 2 other suspected ritualists and fraudsters were also nabbed with a black Nissan car. They were caught with some criminal charms after abducting a teenager for money rituals. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Folaranmi, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Olajide, it's back to you.
Moving on now, to Help Matters research has shown that visual support as a means of communication encourages independence in autistic children and others with learning challenges. This was made known at an international teachers conference on special education organized by Autism Care and Support Initiative in partnership with the Public Affairs Department of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja. Lydia Bassi reports.
Educating the special educator, which is the theme of the conference, is aimed at helping the teachers run an inclusive classroom where all students, including children with special needs in learning, are assimilated members of their school community with set educational system.
We know that a well-prepared teacher is an asset to any child, any parent, any school, any community.
The best people to work with children with autism in Nigeria are people from Nigeria.
And run successful inclusive classrooms. So being able to incorporate students with special needs into their classrooms and their everyday school lives.
Resource persons encouraged participants to introduce more structured schedules.
Plateau State Governor advocates improved lives of rural dwellers. Details with Femchit in Jos. Hello Femchit, it's good to see you.
Jos. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has called on public-spirited individuals to join hands with the state government to provide the health and social infrastructural needs of the people. He was in Pangshin to witness a free medical exercise organized by Mr. Kefas Rochak, a philanthropist and businessman in 3 local government areas of Kanke, Shandam, and Pangshin. Paul Dama reports.
Typical of rural communities such as this, access to modern healthcare facilities are either completely unavailable, or where they exist, there is often an absence of medical professionals and equipment required to administer treatment to patients. Therefore, a free medical outreach brought to the doorsteps of these rural settlers witnessed a large turnout of both the young and old who could not afford to miss the rare opportunity.
Get a project like this that will take people's life, because the money that is being paid to you is the taxpayers' money. It is their money. It's not going to cost you anything to bring out a little from it to touch people's life.
One major revelation of the exercise in Kanke local government area is the prevalence of hernia disease among men in the area, and over 20 successful surgeries were carried out.
The number of hernias that we've seen so far that are situated within the groin of the men is alarming. In fact, I feel that we should go and organize ourselves and come in mass and attend to the patients that have hernia in this locality.
A similar exercise was carried out in Shandam, while in Pangshin, the Plateau State Governor was on ground to witness the exercise.
They were able to give free medical treatment once in a year or twice in a year. It will go a long way, especially to the local man who is very poor.
Management Committee Chairman of Kanke and Shandam both expressed appreciation for the gesture and appealed to the people to always maintain a clean environment and seek medical attention regularly. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
The welfare of officers and men of the Nigerian Army must be given utmost priority to spur them to effectively discharge their duties. These are the words of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, while inaugurating 2 units of the corporal and below quarters at the Maxwell Kobe Cantonment in Jos, Plateau State. Felicia Daliop has details.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, was warmly received by officers and men of the cantonment, where he inspected the quarter guard before proceeding to inaugurate the project.
We commenced the renovation of barracks across the Nigerian Army units and formations, and for the glory of God and mankind. Thank you.
Inaugurating the 2x60 blocks, the Chief of Army Staff said the deplorable state of the quarters is worrisome, considering the efforts his troops are putting to defend the country. He, however, ordered that 5 more blocks be renovated in addition to the first phase of 5.
The state of decay in the barracks is unfortunate, all right? And this is just the measures we are doing, through some of the overheads that we have to ensure that we maintain our barracks. And this is just the deliberate effort we are making, to intervene, because the soldiers are staying in a very bad accommodation.
Acting General Officer Commanding 3 Armored Division, represented by Brigadier General Okechukwu Ugo, said the gesture is a demonstration of the administration's passion and commitment to the welfare of the Nigerian Army. From the Maxwell Kobe Cantonment in Jos, Felicia Dalio, NTA News.
And that's the much we can take from our Jos Network Center. Moving on now to the foreign scene. President Dilma Rousseff of Brazil loses lower house impeachment vote as death toll from Ecuador's earthquake and the rise of these and more on Global Tidbits with Gabriel Odu.
Yes, to start impeachment proceedings against President Dilma Rousseff over charges of manipulating government accounts. The motion will now be considered by the Senate. It would proceed to suspend the president and carry out a formal trial. And latest reports from Ecuador indicate that at least 272 people have died in a powerful earthquake. President Rafael Correa has warned that the death toll may rise as rescue efforts are ongoing. And now to Africa. The Ethiopian army is on a rescue mission of 108 women and children from Mole community in neighboring South Sudan, following last week's attacks in which 208 people died. Meanwhile, the expected return of South Sudan's rebel leader, Riek Machar, has been delayed due to logistics, reports say. Riek Machar is due to take the post of first vice president as a component part of the peace process. That's Global Tidbit. Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
And now to sports update with Amanzi Marcus.
It was a mixed grill for Nigerian tennis players on day one of the Tombin Open ITF circuit holding at the Package B section of the Abuja National Stadium. Nigeria's Sylvester Emmanuel defeated Luka Makaroshi of Switzerland 6-3, 6-4 in round 1 to progress to the second round. In another Monday game, Joseph Ime of Nigeria lost 7-5, 6-2 to Simeon Russia of Switzerland, who avenged the loss of compatriot Makaroshi.
If you work hard in this game, you have nothing to lose, you know? So you just come in the game and you just come in the court and play your best tennis.
The condition is not the same as Europe because it's hotter. Like in Switzerland now it's like 10-15 degrees and even today it's snowing.
President Nigeria Tennis Federation Sani Ndanusa hopes the competition will improve the rankings of Nigerian tennis players.
So this tournament is even beyond tennis because bringing 25 players from 25 countries of this world just means that these people, they will go back with a positive impression of Nigeria.
After claiming his maiden PGA Tour title, Brandon Grace, revealed four-time major champion and countryman Annie Earls, predicted he will reign supreme at the RHC Heritage. Despite having 7 European Tour trophies to his name, Grace had never won on the PGA circuit, but that all changed on Sunday. South Africa's Grace finished 2 shots ahead of former world number 1 Luka Donald and Russell Knox following his final round 66 at Harbortown Golf Links in South Carolina, USA. Romania's 40-year stranglehold on women's gymnastics ended on Sunday following their inability to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics, placing 13th and failing to finish among the top 4 qualifiers in the women's team event. With Sports News Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And that's it on NTA Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Olajide Bello. Good evening.